Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Marshall from Anatomy of Guitar Tone and the podcast Anatomy of Tone. I would share a technique that I use when I may be feeling less than creative. I need to stimulate some creative flow, get some ideas to build upon. I like to use books sometimes, and reading music is really valuable for this because there is an unlimited amount of resources available to pull new ideas from pre-existing material that exists in books. So I often wake up in the morning and open up the real book and analyze a chart, or I open up Bill Evans' transcription book, look at voicings or phrasing. I might be studying a Debussy piece or Bach chorales, just always looking at music to generate and just observe what other people are doing. So today I checked out this song called Big P, and that was from Jimmy Heat. And there was a moment in it that I really liked. There was some cool harmonic movement in it where it started on the one minor chord, D minor in this case. You can see I'm using Dorical 5 here. And the second chord, we moved to an E major triad over the D root. And the third chord was an E flat major triad over a D root, and then back to D minor 7. So on the second chord, basically, we have the 2 chord as a major chord, and then the 3 chords, a flat 2 as a major chord, and down to the 1. A bit of chromatic movement there from the 2 chord down to the 1, but they're major, but the 1 chord's minor. I just really like that sound. It stuck out to me, and I played it a bit on the piano, and it's just like it seemed like something I can build off of. This is a small piece of the composition. Obviously, there's a lot more to the Big P composition, but this little snippet was enough for me to maybe inspire something and made me think about how I can twist this and turn this into my own piece. So I didn't copy the melody line. I didn't copy the harmonic rhythm, where it was playing the chords or the rhythms it was playing the chords. I did just take the harmonic movement. So I started to build my own line. Well, let's listen to what it sounds like just with these sounds. And now is where I decided to develop a rhythmic phrase for it and mess around with some voicings. I just used inversions over the E and the E major chord or the D roots because I felt like it was staying close to this voicing I was using for a D minor. Let's hear what it sounds like. Now here I'm transposing this to G minor, so we have a temporary modulation to the key of G minor. Really, G minor is the 4 minor chord in the D minor key, so it makes sense to move to that chord as a temporary modulation. In the chart, they used a dominant 7 chord to move into the new key center, I should say the temporary key center of G minor. I didn't do that because I was just extrapolating like one basic idea to experiment with how I can make a new song out of it. A spark to develop a new song with. I'm whiteboarding ideas here. When I got to this next measure, where I considered changing the voicings of the harmony. Maybe I would try voicing them in fourths instead of just using triads or just inversions of triads. I'm still not using any sevenths, but I am spacing in fourths. I'm not. For this example, I'm spacing in fourths. So if we look at the E over D, now you see that it's B to E as a fourth and E to A as a fourth. I have a third in between the B and the E. I see Bill Evans use these voicings a lot, so it was one of the reasons I chose it. So I'm starting on the fifth of the chord if we're looking at bottom up harmonization. And the D minor 7 is not harmonized in fourths, but the E and the E flat over D are. Let's hear what that sounds like. Let's compare that to the first version. I think the fourths harmonization just sounds a little more mysterious and open sounding, as you would expect from fourth voicings. This is something you could keep taking further and further. You could get more adventurous with the voicings or with tensions that you're adding. You can start by just adding sevenths, or just think about the different ways that you can harmonize, but take this same idea just from these two bars that I pulled, or just basically like three chords that I pulled from the real book, I was able to already start to turn this into something that was pretty far removed from the songs. I'm not copying somebody's music, I'm just using a harmonic idea as a fire starter to get something going. And sometimes the hardest thing is just having that initial idea. And once you have an initial idea, you can run with it and you can start expanding and developing. So using books and pre-existing material to get the party started is a wonderful technique to break any kind of rut, or I would say like just a writer's block that you may be having. If you're enjoying this video, I teach lessons on music theory and composition, as well as guitar, bass, drums, and synthesizer programming. I also have a podcast called Anatomy of Tone, which is on all podcast outlets where I discuss a lot of music theory and getting sounds and interviewing a lot of people in the music industries, giving a perspective about a lot of different perspectives of music. So you could check that out. You could reach me at anatomyofguitartone.com if you want to talk and ask any questions or any ideas for any future videos. And until next time, I hope everybody has a great week.